This is the story of an 18-year-old named Hakeem. Being of African descent, his parents emigrated to Mexico years ago. His parents worked to pay for his studies. They were offered a job in a very popular circus at the time. They decided to stay and only travel by participating, giving functions, holding events or selling things. This to earn a livelihood for the family. They practiced this profession for a long time, which allowed Hakeem to study from the preschool level to a higher level. Hakeem's parents worked so hard they put him aside. A child needed attention to hear how his son's day was. Since Hakeem always suffered abuse from his classmates from preschool level to his current level, he creating various unstable attitudes in his attempt to recreate himself and have problems with people. Therefore, he made the decision to join the circus, thus creating a clown character where he could hide and be someone else before society to like them, but all behind a disguise. Over time, Hakeem realized that he really liked being a clown, but he still had no relationship with the outside world outside of character. That is how he developed a disease called dissociative identity disorder. That is, while he was dressed as a clown he had a different personality from his, because when he was in his character he was kind, cheerful and positive. Arriving at his house, his face didn't even fade. He never took off his disguise. He didn't even recognize himself anymore. He just called himself Stranger the Happy Clown. Thus, he made all the people forget about Hakeem and only see his character in him. A day like any other, giving a show at the circus, he showed up to work very excited in a new white suit. His smile and enthusiasm for him disappeared when he saw 3 of his high school bullies in the stands. It was more his fear of him when the presenter announced it with his real name and not with his stage name. This made his stalkers realize who he was and they started making fun of him, thanks to which his act was disastrous and the audience started booing him as he did everything wrong with his act. He ran out of there, but when he passed through the door the 3 were waiting for him. He showed so much fear on his face. His reaction was to take a board that had some nails at the tip with which some acrobats performed their acts. He ran towards them. And he began to hit them all with the board, leaving 2 lifeless and 1 about to die. He ran out very afraid of what he had just done. When he got home he looked in the mirror and saw all his new white suit stained with blood. He was very afraid. But deep down he felt good for what he did, knowing that he is done with what caused him a lot of damage in the past, with what made him a social and without friends. Meanwhile, the other one who was left alive died in the hospital, but before he died he was able to tell the authorities who had caused the deaths. They immediately went looking for Hakeem, but when they asked for him, no one recognized that name. They only recognized the man, Clown. Hakeem hid for a while the matter calmed down a bit, but in his heart and mind it was the scene where the whole audience started to make fun of him in a bad way and the hatred and resentment towards them continued. He created a plan with which he wanted to take revenge on all those who had mocked him in that circus function, so he went to the tent and approached the caravan where they had the videos of all the circus cameras. He looked for those of that day. He was able to take them away before they discovered. When he got to the place where he was hiding he realized that he couldn't play the videos since he didn't have to put it this way. He goes back to the circus where he finds a DVD player to play the videos. Watching the video, Hakeem recognizes the people who attacked him in the past. For this reason his heart was filled with hatred when he remembered everything, and he began to end the lives of his attackers in a very cruel way, mocking and rejoicing from pain. Still having to end the life of a girl, Hakeem began by planning how to kill her, while in the process taking it upon himself to watch over her and observe her every day. Noticing her, the girl confronts him face to face to ask him why he was following her, to which Hakeem replies that he is in love with her, and since he is a shy boy he cannot find a way to talk to her or approach her directly. It is there when he accepts her to be his friend. The days passed and Hakeem continued to be friends with the girl. Trust was gained as Hakeem began to tell him his story, what he lived through in the past, and hurt him so much the girl in the same way. She begins to tell him that she suffered a lot of bullying and abuse from her classmates. For this reason she had no friends and was very lonely. As time passes, Hakim dares to make a confession to him and tells him that he took revenge on those who once harmed him. He told him that he had murdered his attackers because he needed peace in his life, but he was still afraid of being blamed before the police since he ended the lives of all his aggressors. The girl, upon hearing this, is destroyed inside, since Hakim was the murderer of her parents. She did not want to tell him, because she was still shocked to hear what he had commented. I know she was cold, and at that moment she began to hate him. She did not want to get away from him because she wanted to avenge the death of her parents. She began to plan the brutal way to kill him. When she found the best way to kill him, she summoned him to her apartment, making her believe that they would have a romantic dinner. That's when the brutal plan began, of course preventing Hakim from noticing. He was happy for the romantic dinner that Regina had. She carefully takes out a knife from her elegant sack and starts stabbing Hakim many times, making him lose a lot of blood, and leaving him in complete agony. Then she starts cutting off each of his limbs to so later throw them down a drain to prevent others from noticing.
Ya, solamente para